Does DeMaurice Smith actually have big lips? Well, if you were to compare Smith's lip circumference to the national average for his height and weight class, you'd probably discover that Gruden's claim was statistically correct. I imagine that my own lips would be on the north end of average as well. But the difference is that I am white and DeMaurice Smith is black. Whoever is behind it, and whatever their reason, the goal's pretty clear. Destroy John Gruden. And it wouldn't be hard to accomplish that objective, aided by a media ever eager to knock a white man off his perch. I got to deduct points based on the fact that you are on ice skates, which is a little bit, it's like that's what figure skaters use. And it's a little bit sort of dainty. You're ice skating around. You can never be fully manly on ice skates it's like on rollerblades. How manly? You could do a version of roller hockey's a thing, right? And that could be fun, I guess, but you're still in rollerblades. So the manlier thing is just to be on your own 2 feet, flat on the ground.
So not exactly scientific, but Matt Walsh has his own way of deciding which sport is less manly nowadays. He goes with hockey because, after all, the players are on skates. It's that simple to him. What seems, though, like a mindless conversation between bros is actually textbook technique for Walsh, who often uses sports and sports-adjacent content to push this anti-rhetoric of his. Each installment also exposes some real insecurities that he does seem to have. This would be just the most recent example of Walsh dabbling into misogyny when it comes to the sports world.
This is a problem across our culture. Sports just happen to be an area where the problem is especially pronounced and obvious. Females enter into areas that have typically catered and mostly belonged to men. And then, often quite successfully, they try to change them, to emasculate them, and thereby destroy the primary reason for their existence in the first place. This phenomenon is so far-reaching in football especially that they're even changing the rules now to make the game itself more gentle and feminine. Football is, still violent, but it's less violent than it used to be. All of this, along with the token female sideline reporters and the female analysts at halftime, it's an effort to make the game less appealing to the people the game was invented for to begin with.
Yeah, how dare we, right? Having been an NFL and NBA sideline reporter, I didn't notice any gender accommodation. What I did notice was some insecurity from a good number of male sports reporters who I suspected were insecure about getting scooped on a story. But those guys, nothing compared to the insecurities of Walsh, whose feminization of football rant seems rooted in his downright hatred towards others, as in anyone other than a straight white male. What else could explain his reaction to something as simple as this?
But as far as symbolism goes, I think it is appropriate that they should replace the colors of the American flag with the colors of the LGBT flag. I mean, it's horrendous, it's traitorous, it's treasonous. If I was in charge of the country, they wouldn't be allowed back into the country. But it's also appropriate because the LGBT nation, LGBTistan, we may call it, is, after all, the country that corporate America, as well as the United States government, seeks to represent. It is the nation that the left pledges its allegiance to. It is the country that wishes to colonize the world and export its ideas and values to corners of the globe that have no interest in them. Now, I've often said that the Alphabet Club is a religious cult. And it is that, certainly.
Number one, the crest was never used during World Cup games, but who cares about that, right? Number two is what's important. Walsh has mastered how to keep his racist and misogynistic audience engaged in his rhetoric. In that clip, he equates colonialism to the wider acceptance of LGBTQ plus people. That's textbook. After all, he gets it. The control of gender identity is absolutely key, a key component to uphold colonial privilege and racialized norms.